about your visual novel journey. But before we get to that, let's talk about anime scams. So like people in the chat know, like, okay,
we're gonna scam everyone by teasing visual novels and be like, no, just kidding. We're talking about scams.
No, we're talking about our new Kickstarter, right? Where we're gonna not give you anything, but you can donate.
You can give us money, but we will not give you anything in return. No. My friend Loki did that to a group of people, but like I don't think it was in the intention.
You sure you want to put your friend out on blast here like that?
Yeah, because it's not an anime related one, so it's fine.
Okay, so what we're talking about is this week. This suddenly just came up on my Twitter feed all of a sudden. I had to look into it because like it said something about Anime Tube. And maybe some people in the chat are familiar with it already. And I thought it was like something about AnyTube. So I was like, yo, what the fuck? Who's talking shit about us? And then I went to look into it. And it's like, oh, it's something else. Okay, we're good. But then I kept like reading, like, I think there was like a few articles and what it is like, and, you know, Shai, you can give more details if you know more than me on this.
I cannot. I have no details, so I'm relying on you.
So it was about, I think, like it's a Kickstarter campaign to start a new streaming service that legit claims that it'll be completely free, that all these other like streaming services like Crunchyroll, Amazon, Netflix are lying about how much these licenses actually cost, that they're saying, oh, it's hundreds of millions for a license, and it's actually not that expensive. They can get it for far cheaper, and because of that, they can get all these anime and make it free for everyone to watch legally. And that's it. It's gonna like, and a ton of people were like, yeah, this is awesome. We knew it, you know, and then the Kickstarter got like $110,000 in like 2-3 days. And then every time like some other streaming services have challenged them on something that they claimed, because they said, oh, we're already working with, you know, Japanese or like with the license holders or whatever to kind of get these anime. Like the other streaming services have been like, no, you're not. Like, this isn't, we have those licenses. How can you get them? It's like, oh, then they come back with some like lame excuse saying like, oh, you don't know, you know, we're speaking directly to the Japanese license holders. So obviously you wouldn't be privy to that knowledge yet. And then I don't know, they keep like coming up with different, you know, rebuttals that kind of seem weaker and weaker. So
yeah,
that's what that is. That's Anime Tube.
And did they get exposed for being like full of shit, or has that not been exposed yet?
It hasn't been completely exposed. I think their Kickstarter's still going, and
like they haven't said like, LOL JK, we didn't do it. Like there are people out there that still believe that Anime Tube will happen.
Oh yeah, no, they're still trying to defend themselves and saying no, we actually have a legitimate claim, and this is for real. This is, you know, the licenses are not that expensive, and Anime Tube is going to be, you know, what we say it's going to be. So most of the kind of people in the industry that know about this stuff have spoken up on it and kind of given their 2 cents and like, you know, say it's probably a scam. So I just think it's interesting how these like scams happen. And then it's like, it sounds too good to be true. And then all these people are kind of like buying into it. So
yeah. Yeah, that's kind of wild just because, I mean, I know from common sense that it's not happening because licenses are expensive. And I know because my friend, my bestie, Tay, is a lawyer who would, you know, knows about this stuff. So they would also be able to tell me it's not happening. But it's also just like such a far-fetched like thing that's obviously not going to happen.
Yeah,
like they obviously can't do that because if they could do it, everyone would do it.
Yeah, like I don't know. I just like it just sounds like very far-fetched, and I think the mind-boggling part is that it's managed to garner, you know, so much kind of like a buy-in when it, I don't know. It's like if it was that easy, or if it was that like, you know, that not expensive, then I think either someone would have done it a long time ago, or you know, it wouldn't have. I don't know. Like I feel like, yeah, like it would have either already been done, or this information would have been made public knowledge so much longer ago. So
yeah, I think it's like this is kind of ridiculous. So I mean, first, the most infuriating part of this is that they are called Anime Tube, and I keep thinking they're AnyTube.
I think it might be like more of a spin on YouTube, like YouTube, Anime Tube.
I keep thinking it's like trying to say AnyTube, and it's not. So I keep thinking it's like AnyTube slander, and then it's not, and then it confuses me, and that frustrates me the most.
Yeah.
That's like the worst part for me because I just know it's like full of shit. I mean, I feel bad for the people who are like sending their money to them, but at the same point, it's like they're obviously not going to do it. So like,
Yeah.
don't throw your money at random Kickstarters that do not seem likely.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, I don't know. I just didn't think like something like that would gather that much attention at this point in time. But I think a lot of people are very frustrated. I think it comes from a lot of frustration
True.
with streaming services, with Funimation, like the Player, Crunchyroll. I mean, some frustrations and some criticism I think are valid. Some are just kind of ridiculous. But I think I think the accessible like anime is so accessible now that it's like it's just maybe it's split up across like so many different platforms that it's like I guess that's where a lot of the frustration comes.
Yeah,
But
there is that sense of frustration of like I'm paying for these streaming services and they don't have everything I want and they're tough to use. Like I go on periodic rants against Funimation. Like I've never like nothing pisses me off more in the world than Funimation's streaming service that doesn't work. Like I've tried 3 different times to have a Funimation account and it either does not work because like the show won't show up, it'll buffer the whole time or just won't work in general. So like I made this one tweet that I'm of like, who had a tougher time, Sisyphus pushing a boulder up the cliff for eternity or an average user trying to make the Funimation player work?
damn, that's savage.
I'm
That's
pulling out
good.
Greek. I'm pulling out the philosophy references to express
Sisyphus would
how
have
much.
preferred, dealing with his boulder than,
Yeah,
than the
I
Funimation
think he
player.
made more headway than anyone using Funimation's
I
streaming
mean,
site.
every time I'm gonna go like to watch something, I usually watch it on like an Apple TV, like on my TV, and it's like I have to cross my fingers that like a new episode comes out and that it'll play. It's annoying.
And that's why I was so pissed off that they're joining services, Funimation and Crunchyroll. And I think it's Funimation's site that's buying Crunchyroll. So
Yeah.
in my head, I'm like, are they going to stick with the Funimation player or are they going to use the Crunchyroll player? And the Crunchyroll player, for all as much shit as people give it, at least it works. Like my bar is in hell. At least it works.
I mean,
Funimation stuff does not work.
I mean, it took them a while to kind of finally like up it, like to improve it. But as long as they're using that money or whatever they're generating to kind of put it back into making the services, more user friendly or easier or more consistent, that would be awesome.
Yeah, but I think you're right that it does reflect a lot of frustration with the current legal streaming sites that people are willing to put their money and faith in a pipe dream that they could just have a free, well-working streaming service rather than the stuff we currently have, because a lot of the ones we currently have just really suck. And that's why, as much as people want to support the industry, there are a lot of means that are there are a lot of barriers that make it tough to support the industry. And a lot of it does come down to like the catalogs don't have the full range of shows people want to watch. They don't work like Funimation, like they just don't work, or they're also not available in your country. So like for a lot of, we're in a country that is fortunately has a lot of access to these series. But if you're in a third world country and you legally cannot get them and you still want to watch them, what is like, why would you spend $500 on a Blu-ray on a chance of liking a show? It's just not reasonable or purposeful. And the market definitely needs to recognize how accessible this is worldwide, and they need to accommodate. Otherwise, they will continue to lose money to pirating.
I mean, especially with how many anime are coming out each season, more and more, how much crunch there is to get these anime out, how much the animators are not getting paid. So if like this service is free, how are these people going to, getting paid?
Yeah, like they're barely getting paid now.
Yeah.
With it legal, how are they going to get paid otherwise?
Exactly. The industry needs to be generating enough money to at least try to have a leg to stand on to convince them, hey, pay your animators more, pay your workers more. And then in terms of the Tommy Police here says in the chat to give us insight on distribution licenses are still a big problem for those of us outside North America or Europe.
Yeah,
so
exactly. Like and that's the thing is we're not even talking about like spend all this money on a Blu-ray for a show you like. We're talking about rolling the dice to see if you do like the show and if they would be worth the Blu-ray. You know?
I mean, one cool thing that I kind of noticed being done recently, I don't know if it's been done before, maybe it's not as new as I think, but I saw on YouTube, I think Funimation was like premiering like certain anime episodes for free. Like,
oh, that's kind of cool.
This past season.
Yeah.
Maybe it was a promotion for one particular anime, but they had like the whole first episode premiered, and you could just watch it, and you
Yeah.
didn't have to have a Funimation license.
Yeah, that's pretty dope. I know that like I think Steins Gate is for free on the Funimation site on YouTube. So
Oh, that's cool.
yeah, I don't think it's the 1080p Blu-ray version, but I think you
Yeah.
can go up to 720.
Yeah.